Det helt sykt å se Bowers Wilkins 800-serie bli produsert. Du vil ikke tro det. Bli med på tur sammen med Stereo Plus. Og husk å trykke like og abonner, slik at vi kan dra på flere turer som dette.
Here we go.
Stereo Plus går inn i en av verdens største high-end høyttalerfabrikker.
Her vi inne på snekkerverkstedet, det det jeg må kalle det, til Bowers Wilkins. Og her tar de disse platene her og legger i sammen og skal lage et kabinett ut av det. Her får vi en liten forklaring på hvordan det blir gjort.
If you take just a single piece, as you can see, it's very pliable. It bends. But of course what we're doing is using the natural alignment of the wood and the wood grain to create our own stiffer construction. So if you come to some of our smaller models, like the 805 that you can see here, or the 804, they have 12 layers of wood. Now forming all of this is done under very high pressure and very high heat. And these large forming press tools over here take care of that job for us. What it's going to do in this particular model, because it's the largest one, the 801, is it's going to supply 80 tons of vertical pressure and 60 tons of horizontal pressure onto that sheet wood and bend it into the form. Once completed, you're going to go from this to this.
For å få det helt nøyaktig blir hver enkelt høyttaler målt individuelt før de kan gå videre i prosessen.
This is lifted up and it's put onto this. Then we slide it into this tool and it will very gently open the loudspeaker up, only a small amount. If we go over here, I can show you how that works. This cabinet has been opened up and they've inserted the internal bracing system. What they then do is reverse the tool. So rather than opening, it's pushing. It's going to sit like this under pressure for 2 hours.
Når man skal pusse ned 800-serien, så bruker man en robot til å gjøre det. Da blir det slik at kantene ved høyttalerelementene blir helt spisse, og resten blir pusset perfekt ned. Ganske omfattende prosess, som man ser roboten gjøre bak her. Og det faktisk ikke mulig å se helt hvordan den får det til. Når roboten har gjort seg ferdig, gjør man enda en liten manuell behandling av høyttaleren.
Hullene til basselementene blir lukket før høyttaleren skal lakkeres.
Høyttaleren står på rekke og rad her og klare til å gå inn til lakkeringsroboten her inne, slik at man får perfekt finish.
Come down to this end and through the glass you can see it doing its work.
Det tar bare 45 minutter før høyttalerne helt ferdige på andre siden. Da må de selvfølgelig pusses ned for hånd, slik at resultatet blir fantastisk.
Fra snekkerverkstedet går vi inn i den svært mye roligere monteringsavdelingen.
It's a little bit more quiet here.
It is. One of the things that you see around here is this very special thing just under this cover.
Den berømte Nautilus-høyttaleren, som inspirerte den nye 800-serien, fortsatt toppmodellen til Bowers Wilkins.
So this is the final assembly area for Nautilus. So the cabinets are built elsewhere in the building. We'll go and see that later on.
Nå vi kommet inn til diamantene. Ja, det ikke diamantringer, men selvfølgelig diamantdiskanter. og de kan ikke røres. De må være veldig, veldig forsiktige.
The diamond diaphragm is made from artificially grown diamond. It's incredibly stiff. It's just 40 micron, so very, very thin, very light. Each individual diaphragm, if you're making the diamond dome, is put into the complete assembly and then it's tested. The complete assembly is just over here. Sorry, no, I'm just going to go to your right, mate. So, this is the solid body tweeter assembly. This is a single piece of aluminium. This whole thing will go into this chamber, complete with the dome, and be measured and tested for the correct performance before it's then packed in the box and sent downstairs to go onto one of our final product assembly lines.
There are some parts of the factory we can't go.
That's correct, and this is the one area. So just over in the distance.
I'm not curious at all.
So we have a special technology for our mid-range cone, which we call the continuum cone. We have managed to keep what goes on inside it a secret now for 7 years, and we're trying to keep it that way. So it's done over there. That's the area where the work is done, but I'm not going to take you down there to film it because I can't reveal the processes inside. I'm sorry. So once we've come past our secret area, the next thing we go into is assembly for the mid-range and for the low frequency. This is our drive unit assembly line. So this is taking everything from the magnet, the motor system, through to the chassis. You can see it right there. That's just going to spin right now while the glue applicator goes on.
Når elementet ferdig montert, den blitt til en continuum mellomtone.
This particular one is an 801. You can tell it's an 801 as opposed to others because the chassis is a different color. The chassis is black. The reason for that is pretty straightforward. The size of the cone is the same on an 802 and an 801. In fact, the cone itself is the same. However, the motor system on an 801 is very different. It's double silver, higher performance. So to avoid them getting mixed up, 801s are black, 802s are silver.
Nå skal vi se på delfilterne til Bowers Wilkins. Her lager de ikke delene selv, men de har Mundorf-deler, og det er jo det beste av alt. Og delefilterne er ganske enkle, og det skyldes rett og slett at siden de lager høyttalerelementene selv, så er det mulig å lage enklere delefilter.
What we want is the audio signal arriving here from the terminals and then getting out to the drive units with the minimum possible loss of information. Now this is a reference crossover design for an 801. And as you can see here, it's a pretty substantial piece with some incredibly high value Mundorf capacitors, particularly these ones.
Nå skal vi inn I avdelingen for nøyaktig manuelt arbeid.
We use, as you know, we saw downstairs, robots in certain areas to polish because, of course, with certain cabinet structures that works fine. With these smaller elements, a person is what you need. That's what we need, still need to do the best job. There we go, look at that. Raw, before any work done. Do you mind if we pop our heads around at least?
Yeah.
Nautilus blir laget for hånd på denne lille avdelingen. Her støpes den legendariske høyttaleren. Bare fronten tar det flere dager å lage. Designer Lawrence Sticky, som nå hos Vivid, bestemte at man skulle bruke disse lange tubene.
You sure?
En liten overraskelse til slutt.
Okay, we are now going in.
This is very special.
Vi får komme helt inn til en nylakkert Nautilus.
This is the Nautilus. This is one of our by-hand paint spray chambers. So the people who work in here are very highly skilled, and they work on the smaller component parts that require painting by hand, and of course the Nautilus. This particular one is halfway through its paint cycle, which is why we have to be very, very careful not to touch it, because it's still wet.
Når den ferdig, blir den plassert her.
This is before and after.
Pretty much.
Her avsluttet produksjonen av de minste Bowers Wilkins Nautilus-høyttalerne. 805 og 804. Her settes alt inn, og det gjøres manuelt.
As you can see right here, there's some 805s being made ready to move down the line. So getting ready to fit the crossover.
De bruker et lydødt kammer for å teste de ferdige høyttalerne.
What's happening inside this chamber?
So basically you're measuring the response to the loudspeaker, trying to make sure that it matches up to what it should match up to. So this chamber has a set of reference data based on the acoustic sign-off version of the product, and then each build is compared to that. So there's a frequency sweep, you can hear it there in the background, running from low frequency through high, and it's a pass. Happy days. Everything that's inside one of these from an acoustic point of view has been checked once already before it's got here. These guys don't want to be messing around with that kind of stuff. They're putting them together. So the drive units are tested individually, the boards are tested, the crossover boards are tested individually. So you should get a high degree of success when it comes to pass or fail, because we already know what's going on.
Når høyttaleren ferdig pakket, går de rett inn på dette gigantiske lageret.
That's pretty cool.
Og kanskje de på vei til Norge.
Da vi kommet til mål. Vi ferdig på fabrikken til Bowers Wilkins.